6 minutes into a conversation with air traffic control, 20-year-old pilot Frederick Valentich reported that a large, unidentified object was hovering over him. His final transmission was interrupted by 17 seconds of a harsh, metallic scraping sound. Then the line went quiet. Valentich operated out of Moorabbin, a busy general aviation airfield on the edge of Melbourne. The environment that evening offered no warning signs. The sky was perfectly clear, visibility was excellent, and the water below was calm. The public record of Australia's most famous UFO abduction exists as a set of radio logs, a sequence of events that must be weighed against the mechanical limits of the cockpit and the unforgiving physics of flight. The diagram illustrates a physiological trap known as spatial disorientation. When a pilot flies at night over pitch-black water without a visible horizon, the human inner ear begins to send false positional signals to the brain. If the pilot slowly drops a wing, they can enter a tightening, descending turn known as a graveyard spiral. The inner ear adapts to the steady motion, making the pilot believe they are flying perfectly level, even as they accelerate toward the ocean. In a steep, spiraling turn, the geometry of the aircraft's own navigation lights, spread across the wingtips and tail, changes relative to the surface. Over calm, dark water, these create a cluster of moving reflections that can appear to mimic the aircraft's every maneuver, effectively playing games with a pilot who no longer knows which way is up. Flowchart outlines standard aviation emergency protocols. Faced with an engine failure, a pilot is trained to pitch for best glide speed, switch fuel tanks, declare a formal mayday, and prepare to ditch the aircraft. The radio transcript reveals that Valentich ignored these steps. Completely fixated on the lights outside his window, he focused entirely on describing the object instead of running his emergency checklists. This cross-section of a Cessna 182 illustrates a gravity-feed fuel system. The fuel sits in the wings and pulls downward into the engine block. If the aircraft rolls inverted, the fuel pools at the top of the tanks. This immediately severs the supply line to the engine, meaning a Cessna 182 cannot physically run upside down for more than a few seconds before stalling. Grounded theories surfaced, including the idea that Valentich staged his own disappearance. He carried hours of extra fuel, but his family noted he had no debts, no crisis, and zero motive to vanish. Instead, the public latched on to an explosive wave of local UFO sightings that spring. This chart compares the volume of regional UFO sightings against the timeline of October and November 1978. When we overlay the publication dates of newspaper stories covering the disappearance,